I was saying, how does everyone start their mornings?
With a Folgers cup of coffee. Ha ha!
There he is.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what we do. I start with a cup of coffee, and I actually send out my birthday greetings to everybody on Facebook, and kind of go through my email. Then I've been actually going through the Puget Sound area home search leads.
I have a very specific routine that I do every morning, and I've been doing this for almost 3 years without much change. I get up at 5:21, and when my alarm goes off, I get up. No snooze button anymore. Then immediately I swing out, my legs drape over the bed. I say my morning mantra, some affirmations. I get up, put my slippers on, put on a t-shirt, go to the bathroom, wash out my mouth, go downstairs. I have my books, I write my affirmations, I do my meditation, I do my reading, I go through some motivational processes. I have my cup of tea. After that, I go out and I do my fitness. After my fitness, I shower, I get ready, and I get on my day. Almost regularly, just like that. That's for 2 hours. From 5:21 to about 7:30, that's the process. That's my morning, Mike. And that includes vacations, weekends, and holidays.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm just kind of poking at what people do in the morning.
Yep.
You have to slowly ease into getting up early when you're not a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember when I worked my 9 to 5, I had to get up at 6:10, 6 in the morning. And after doing it for a while, like, it was just natural. There's some days where, like, you just did not want to wake up. But I feel like a big thing is when you go to sleep. Because I'm a late person. I can sleep at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. sometimes.
Pre-surgery, pre-real estate, I used to get up at 2:45 in the morning to be to work at 4 a.m.
How about anyone else? How about anyone else? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I can
right.
hear you. What was the question? Even late.
You know, what do you do to get yourself motivated, up and rolling in the morning? Is there something unique and special that you use that you utilize to get you up and rolling, get you into the day?
Oh, for me, it's just I just do my normal morning thing, and
Yep.
I'm starting the day because I have a job which is real estate. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't see it as I do real estate so I can do whatever I want all day. I see it as I need to do real estate so I can do what I want when I want. But my job is real estate though. So I don't really need motivation because I need to make money and pay my bills. So
That's it. And the motivation is the freedom and security you get as a result of making that money.
Well,
that's right. Yeah.
My question wasn't necessarily motivation. It's just how you start your day off to get going. What is your process? You know, like, are you making phone calls at a certain time? Or are you going through some paperwork before that?
Oh, here's something to consider, Mike. I had one of my earlier coaches goes, your day doesn't begin when you wake up. Your day begins when you go to sleep. Your next day begins when you go to sleep. In other words, review your day.
know what you're going to be waking up and getting into. And so, yeah, the real estate day is sometimes, for most of us, we should have those 2 parts or 3 parts to the day: income producing, income servicing, and then doing what the hell you want to do. And oftentimes the lines get real blurred, and then production ceases, and we're wondering why we don't have production on the board or a pipeline that is full, because we've been, excuse my French, everybody, we've been fucking around too much, doing too much stuff that doesn't mean anything but seems that we are doing something, versus our job, which is leads off with lead generation. And so if you're looking at Mantil, you're hitting a little bit of this yourself, where if you don't have 1 or 2 transactions that are pending, and that's all you have, and you have a low pipeline, then what else are you doing for the rest part of your day? It should only take 1 to 3 hours at maximum daily to service a couple pending transactions. The rest of your day needs to be filled with lead follow-up and lead generation until you reach that point where you have that pipeline filled to match what it is your goals are. And if you have goals to sell 20 homes, you need to have 20 leads in areas, in categories A, B, and C. Until you have 20 leads categorized in A, B's, and C's to equal your annual close goal, you should be doing nothing but lead generation till you get up to that point, and then you can back the pedal off. It's like a flight leaving SeaTac going to wherever your destination is. It's going to use 1/3 of its fuel to get up to cruising altitude, and then it backs it off. So until you get up to that cruising altitude, until you have your pipeline filled up to equal your amount of closed transactions, you should be doing nothing but lead generation. That's just some straight
Can we
talk.
touch into that, Todd? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, contacts, making contacts, lead generation, contacts lead to leads, lead to lead follow-up. Lead follow-up means appointments mean negotiation means closed transactions and client care.
Yeah.
And
okay, well, I got something specific. So like when we're talking A and B categories, let's tap into that, because I don't know what is everyone doing.
Okay, I use a very, very loose filter, and what works for one may not be the same bait that will work for the next fisherman. And so for me, an A category, Jose, is anyone who believes they will be doing something with a strong motivation within 0 to 2 months. Now, there are other higher producers than me, okay, that would say, no, that's not an A lead for me. An A lead for me would be somebody who is willing to do something within 30 days. Even higher level producers, when you go up the scale, when somebody's doing 100 to 150 transactions a year, an A person would be somebody who's willing to do something within 2 weeks. Okay. So when I say the scale, and when I say my A categories from 0 to 2 months, I'm thinking, for me, this is my business because I know my pipeline and I know my pace. For me to close 30, to 34 transactions, that's about what I need to do. And so for you,
yeah, no, I just want to tap in and kind of just ask you some more. So with the leads that are from A, because me right now, I have it, my A category is 0 to 30 days. Now,
okay, good.
Let's break it down. So is there a system that you have as far as following up with them? So do you follow up with them once a week? Is it twice a week, 3 times a week? Is it just kind of like all over the place where you just got to give them a call, a text?
Jose, there's not one, don't mean to cut you off, but I can get right. I know I can get right down to your deal. It's going to be determined based upon the frequency of that individual, that lead, getting ready to do business. So sometimes it's going to be absolutely twice a day, every day, practically, as we get closer to the point where I'm having that person under contract, or when meaning a listing agreement signed. Once they become a listing agreement, once I get that listing agreement signed, they get pulled out of the A group and go into an active client file. Until I have something signed by that seller, they stay in that A category. Same thing with a buyer. I may be talking to that lead daily, talking to that lender daily. And then once I have that pre-approval letter, and then once I have that consultation, then I move them out. So yeah, in some areas in my A columns, I'm calling them every single day. Sometimes it's going to be every other day, but I'm working them, as the intensity and the frequency of calls, emails, follow-ups dramatically increases as we approach that day when they make the transition from a lead to a client.
So you follow up every day, but let's say you don't get response. Do you still do it every day until the 60-day mark, and then after the 60-day mark, you come into your category B?
Jose, let me go back and restate that. In the beginning, once I find that somebody goes, yeah, Todd, I want to do something in a couple months, I'm not going to call them every day for 2 months, Jose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do frequent touches. And as we approach that time frame at the end of their 2 months, the intensity and the frequency of the outreach will dramatically increase. So, if you were to say, Todd, I want to sell my home in 2 months, I'm like, okay, great. It puts you right into the A column. And then I may touch bases with you every week, or send something to you. And then within 30 days, I'm going to start to increase that frequency of my outreach to you. And then because the conversations are going to be changing, and I want to move you to that destination of becoming an active client. So I'm not going to be calling you on day 45, telling you that, hey, we need to set up our consultation. We need to set up this. Let's come out to do a preview. I'm going to get my stagers lined up, and we're going to start talking about photography. I'm not going to have those conversations with you on day 45, but on day 15 and day 10, as we approach the listing agreement time, yeah, I'm going to start having those conversations, and it'll become more frequent. The conversations will change. The frequency and the intensity will change.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my B people are from 3 to 6 months, and then my C column are 6 to 12 months. And again, that's how my sales pipeline works. Yours can be different. You can fluctuate the dates, like Jose had mentioned. His A people are within 30 days. That's a great idea. But I would.
And then,
mm-hmm.
No, I'm just saying, and it's very important to go through it, because remember, Todd, we were like, yeah, man, I got 30 people by A leads, and do you really? And then you break it down, and and you're like, oh crap, no, it's not really that much.
Yeah. The health of your business, because we are all entrepreneurs in our businesses, and we're a collaborative group of entrepreneurs that share best practices and help each other out through our struggles. And whatever goal you have set for yourself, if you want to sell 12 homes in 1 year, if you want to sell 12 homes in 1 year, you should probably always carry 12 leads in an assortment of A, B's, and C's. If it's 20 homes you plan on selling, you should have 20 leads in categories A's, B's, and C's. 30, 40, 50, whatever your goal is, you need to have a catalog of A, B's, and C's that equal that amount. And if your sales pipeline does not equal your goal, you have two choices. One, work your ass off and get leads into that pipeline, or two, adjust your goals. I don't mean to sound so cold-hearted, but when it comes down to business, this is just, some straight talk, because business can be really hard, specifically if you're new into this business, or even if you've been in this business like myself for a long time. I have to be very careful in looking at my pipeline, and I look at that pipeline almost every day, not every day, but almost every day. I can give you an account of everybody in my pipeline. And if it's starting to feel like it's shallow and I need to put more water in the pool, then I'm going to do whatever is necessary to put more water in that pool. And Mantil, you're going through that right now. You're putting water in the pool. The hard thing about it is once you get your pool full, it's easier to keep it full. Okay. It is a pain in the patootie. It's a pain in the butt, trying to fill up that swimming pool. You got 5 hoses in your swimming pool trying to fill it up. So once you get that pool filled up to the certain level, you don't need 5 hoses anymore. It's going to run over and you're going to go nuts. Okay. All you need to do is like 1 hose and just keep that level. But in the beginning, it takes a lot of resources to fill that bad boy up. And that's one of the major hurdles that new brokers have, and all brokers have for that matter, of getting into the business, is getting that pipeline full, doing nothing but lead generation. It's nice to work on those other aspects of your business, and those other parts, but without sales, you don't have a business. Without leads, you don't have a business. Without lead generation, you will soon be out of business. And how you do your lead generation, here's the cool part. There's no set way. You can buy leads, okay? You can buy incoming leads. Those are available through Sync, through Zillow, through Redfin. You can exchange, your commission to have another outside source provide you leads. You can generate leads on your own, doing home buyer education, door knocking, cold calling, open houses, networking, which is a little slow, but it's still a part of it. So if you're struggling right now, just get to work. And like I've mentioned to some of those people in my coaching call, Jose and Douglas, if you're here, and Mantil, you've heard me say this, if you were to hire yourself, given what your production was and your activities were in your real estate business last week, would you hire yourself back? That's a hard question. And if you can't hire yourself back, then you better change what it is you're doing so you would be able to hire yourself back again for the following week, because your job is lead generation.
And that's why we use, transaction coordinators and things like that, so they can help with the paperwork and,
Isn't that right, JR?
That's absolutely right.
It's just like, so we don't spend our time, fiddling with all the stuff.
Yeah, which is why when you're in the Minty program, Jose and JR, you guys fought me on this tooth and nail, about spending an extra $300 to $400 on a transaction coordinator, until you get to the point where you see that you're spending so much time shuffling paper, running things around, that it's interfering with your lead generation. And when you don't have the leads coming in and you're fiddling around with your deals, and all of a sudden your pipeline runs down, you're putting 3 or 4 more hoses back into the pool. Mm-hmm. And hey, I've done this before, and I get real passionate about it because I've been there and I've had the full pool and I didn't do my work and it dropped down. Then I'm scrambling, trying to hook up all these hoses, and it gets filled again. And then I stop doing my thing. Other things become important. It drops down. Then I'm putting 4 hoses back in. It's just, oh my gosh, why can't I just keep 1 hose in there? And once it's full, just maintain it. Because the sun will evaporate your business. Stuff goes away without your control.
So in regards to the lead or the transaction coordinator, just so I understand the scope, my not hole in the fence is that I send them the purchase and sell agreement, and they slice and dice it and they enter it into 𝐦𝐨𝐬. Is that it? Or is there more razzle and dazzle than that? I'm hoping there's more than a half hour's worth of work that they're doing.
Jose, JR, you want to talk to that?
Come on, blow my mind.
Yeah. No, they do everything as far
Well,
as
what is everything?
Putting all the paperwork that just all shuffling all that, emailing back and forth. So whatever the listing agent needs, they're the ones that are like on top of it and can get that for me. And all I do is just check in with them, like how everything's going. And, if they need anything from me, then that's when I jump in. But typically it's a simple process where they send a commission disbursement, they do all of that, and everything that escrow needs, they'll mostly take care of. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I know what it takes, and I do it all, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And for people that are new into the business, your job
Yes,
is
I
to
would
do
agree with this.
is to do lead generation.
This I would agree with.
And the other parts, and the reason that we require, and some people buck and push back and say, I don't want to spend that money, is that it also trains you how to properly do the escrow coordination, because you'll see it done by a professional. They get paid $300 to $400 to do escrow coordination. I personally am worth more than $450 per transaction. You've heard me say this over and over again. I had a coach kick my ass about this too, because I thought I was, I could do all of that and take all my own photography. And he's like, Todd, if you want to be a real estate photographer, give your license back and do real estate photography. He goes, you're worth more than that. Your value is your ability to get shit signed, talk to people, bring things together. If you want to do escrow coordination and you believe that is something you want to do, then drop your real estate license and be an escrow coordinator, because there's brokers out there that will pay you to do that. And it hurt, but I also learned that what a level of freedom. If you're doing 8 to 10 transactions a year, then you probably do have the time to do your own escrow coordination. Once you get above 12 to 15, certainly 20, you're not going to necessarily have the time. And let the professional represent you. They can do so much. They write addendums for you. They open up escrow for you. They contact homeowners associations for you. They track down documents for you. They will complete signings for you. It's just incredible the amount of work they can actually do for you.
So who are the transaction coordinators in our office?
We have 2, and then we also use Moncord Transaction Services, which has changed their name. There's Debbie Orr, and then there's Linda, and then there's Moncord. I also use them for my listing coordination as well. They'll do all the listing input for me. They also coordinate the photography. They coordinate the stager. All I need to do is put things into play, and it's all taken care of. Once you get used to working with them, you just let your clients know, where your position is at in the transaction. And you're going to be hearing from my assistant. She's a listing coordinator and will also be acting and working for us. I'm paying her to make sure that everyone stays on task and doing what their job is doing. What you're hiring me for is to close transactions. The time that I'm here to meet with you, okay, is more important than it would be in tracking down something in a file. So, which means it frees me up to allow a full use of my value for you, which is why I have an assistant, which is why doctors have nurses, which is why nurses have receptions center. So everyone is working together to complete an experience for you. So
Okay.
that's how I utilize it. It's not that the surgeon can't check you in into the lobby. They can, but you want your
Right.
surgeon, you want your doctor to do what they're
Right.
trained at their highest and best skill is. No one's higher than anyone else in this process, except we're all trained and skilled in specific areas.
Makes sense.
And one of the main areas why I, had one is just because I learned so much from especially for me, Linda, 'cause she has so much experience and she just kind of guides me through. In the beginning, when I was brand new, she was like, "Okay, you need this form." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Okay, you need this too." I'm like, "Okay." So it's just now it's just like like everything's ease, and it's just yeah, it's good. Like I got a listing coming up from a for sale by owner. He messaged me. He's like, I want to list myself, home ASAP. I'm like, perfect. And I had no signings at all from him, any paperwork. So I just gave her the email. She's gonna send her every form that I need, listing input, all of that, where they're gonna fill it out, and then they're gonna send it back, and then I just schedule the photography, and then just
Yep.
attach that, and she'll do that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Good. But check it out. You don't have to use one. I strongly recommend. Um, honestly, I I haven't submitted uh, anything to SkySlope in years. Um, I rarely get, unless I do it in person, the Form 17, the property disclosure statement. I have that signed and sent out through my listing coordinator, Debbie, who I pay to send that out. And I let the people know when I'm signing them, you're going to be receiving a second set of documents. I have the listing agreement signed. You're going to be receiving a second set of documents from Debbie. And then it'll be the continuation of her onboarding on your new listing. It'll be a set of disclosures and a set of input. She's also going to come out here and work with you and to put together the feature cards. She'll be putting together, she does all the envelopes, she does all the mailing, she does all these other things. So I can be concentrating on bringing in new business.
That ain't for $300.
For the listing coordination, it is.
No, I meant
And
for the
then,
mailing and her.
yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I also have a commitment to use her for my transaction coordination, which is $500 or it's $400. So it's essentially $750 out of my commission, and it's at the point where I don't have to touch anything anymore. And that's my time is valuable.
Absolutely. That I agree with 100%.
So it's
half
just
the
it's just
time, 10% to pay.
I'm sorry.
It's like half the time and 10% pay off.
but again, like Tom mentioned, if you're just chilling and you don't got much going on, I mean, I still do my own signs because every time when I set up my super box, I just take my sign, take my truck, and stake it in and pop up my sign. So
It's
I mean,
okay.
I still do some stuff of my own. So I mean, but when I get to the point where I'm like, I don't even have time to do that, I will get my sign company. So there's stuff I do myself.
Of course. It's all about leverage.
So I guess my one question is, I mean, you know as well as I do, the vast majority of transactions are not A, B, C, and D. It goes from A to R to T, back to B. I mean, the train is continuously falling off the track. And then that's why we get paid to do what we do, is to keep that train on the track. I guess I'm a little apprehensive of, letting go of the reins, if you will, not knowing status of where, a brick wall's coming up on me and how I need to plan contingently.
That's a great question. You just once you get to know your transaction coordinator, they'll understand your degree of tolerance and control that you want. I had a transaction coordinator tell me, Todd, you don't need to be doing this anymore. Let me do my job.
Okay.
And she goes, if I need you for something, I will call you. And I'm like, okay.
Were they that good?
Now, yeah. And now I'm at the point where it's like, you take everything. You only bring me in when a broker decision needs to be made. or if I need something from you, an addendum, I'd like to have you, because they're licensed, I want you to write it, and I'll send them an email how I want it written, and they'll send it out for signatures, upload it to the right people, get it all turned in. If there's any problems, they'll notify me, and I'll make broker decisions and then have them fulfill it.
That sounds pretty amazing to me.
Thank you. And it is. Because all I want to do is make broker decisions. Everything else can be delegated. I just need to be notified if there's something weird that's going on, because they follow up with the lenders constantly. I love not having to follow up with lenders through the process. JR, you have come to the realization now, dealing with these two transactions, all the work that you've been putting into them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these two transactions, they've had some weird things come up, and it's when the weird things come up that it takes your time.
Yeah.
And your focus and your energy away. And you wish they were the simple ones, and you wish when you said, I don't want to pay someone whatever X amount for these two, that you would have